Hello and welcome back to the third or the fourth live episode of what do we call our show? Hype Cycles. Yes, Hype Cycles. We are recording in Bangalore in Jayanagar. Should we do a product placement for the podcast studio? It's a nice studio.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's Canvas and Couch. That is the name. Yes. Uh, this counts, Nitesh, as the earliest mention of Elon Musk in an episode because there is a book with the title Elon Musk right behind you.
And it's not the Walter Isaacson one. Interesting.
Is Ashley Vance one, which was one of the earlier ones, right? One of the earlier hagiographies of the man.
When it came out when Musk wasn't as universally hated as he is now.
He wasn't hated. He was okay, very slightly hated then. This is
He was in Iron Man.
I think exactly.
He's quoted in a Star Trek episode as one of the greats.
And this book, I think, helped elevate that
Yeah.
mythos.
Or, yeah.
Speaking of mythos, no, that is we'll get to the topics later. How's it going, Nitesh?
Good. Wonderful. It's great to be out of my dungeon. And this is lovely.
It is great to be out of my dungeon in Delhi. I love coming to Bangalore every few months.
Wait, that reminds me. One of our clips had this most amazing comment asking Vineet to sleep more.
I get a lot of great comments, right? Initially, it was like, stop being a car salesman, stop moving around so much. When I sat down, now people are like, please sleep more.
Because
Mr. Vampire.
Mr. No, he didn't even say Mr. Vampire, it was Vampire Bro.
Vampire bro. Mr. Vampire वाला respect भी नहीं है.
But Gen Z respect needs to be earned. You're not just going to get it because you're old and you have a few gray hairs.
Friends.
Yeah.
That had to come. When you talk about Gen Z, respect has to be earned. Yes. Interesting things going on. A lot going on in the AI space. And a lot of turmoil being caused by the AI space in a few East Asian countries.
Yeah, of course. Sure. Wait, maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but what's your take on the whole RAI went rogue and has been hacking other companies? Getting into their sandboxes is what I last read. How much of that is still just fear mongering?
I don't know. I can't get beyond the name HuggingFace.
It's the company's been around for a while.
I know, but I can't get beyond the name HuggingFace. I can never take anything seriously if it starts with hugging face.
Wait, another weird jump before we start the topic. There is a Palantir competitor in Germany, somewhere in Europe, called Arrakis.
Oh, competing universes.
Yeah. And there was a whole Bloomberg article about how tech bros have finally started getting inspired by more than one franchise.
How soon before we start off with the Odyssey names?
You got to give these things 20 years. They have to be everywhere and then forgotten and then obscure enough that only that weird subsection of nerds loves it. And then those weird subsection of nerds come out and start companies. And that's the whole hype cycle.
Hype cycle. Arrakis. Oh, wow. I hate this.
We have made our thoughts.
There is now a theory that Palantir was not named after the Palantir in Lord of the Rings, but after Peter Thiel apparently read this Russian adaptation of the Lord of the Rings from Sauron's perspective, portraying Sauron as a good guy. There is a lot going on in the AI space. I would like to start with this amazing tweet. Somehow, the US government in both 1926 and 2026, we have to shut down illegal distillation of the most powerful spirits.
Nice.
What is your view on distillation? Should it be legal? Should it not be legal?
What is distillation in the 21st century?
In the 21st century, is distillation is training your AI model on other models.
Basically,
Massively oversimplified. But
getting
yes.
your model, which knows nothing, to talk to another model which knows a lot. Just ask questions and sort of record the answers. Okay, ये पूछे तो ये बोलना है, ये पूछे तो ये बोलना है, and kind of build on that.
And sometimes that leads to bloopers, such as you ask a model, what's your name? And it names the other model.
Because that's the answer it remembers.
Yes. And that is the first set of safeguards everyone now builds into their systems to not say that. But yes, essentially that is distillation. And in the last couple of weeks, Kimi, the Chinese company Moonshot, they have released their model. And K3, very, very, very powerful model, 2.8 trillion parameters, which is much better than 2.79 trillion parameters. That's all I can say about the number 2.8 trillion. It's got a lot of zeros. It just seems like a very large number of parameters. Okay, don't grill me. It's an open weighted model, means they have released, you can install it on your own hardware. You don't need to run it on theirs. It is very powerful. It is beating Anthropic on a bunch of benchmarks. It is beating OpenAI on a bunch of benchmarks. And the US government and Anthropic specifically have come down really hard criticizing open weight models and generally distillation as a whole. They are saying, without really any proof, that Kimi K3 has been distilling our models and trained on that.
Let me get this straight. You're saying that they're saying that just because somebody's work is out there on the internet doesn't give you the right to copy it. Yeah? Okay. Just confirm.
Good faith. Good faith. Take it in good faith. No counter questioning. No counter questioning at all.
Because that's totally not how all these fuckers trained their models in the first place, right?
Not at all. They manually wrote everything by hand.
Yeah.
There was no stealing, no copyright infringement, no visits to LibGen, no destroying lakhs and lakhs of books.
Yeah.
No copyright violation at all. We will take them all at good faith, Nitesh.
Classic immigrant trope of pulling up the ladder behind you. हमने किया तो ठीक है, हो गया, तुम मत करो. Yeah, we're the last good immigrants. We're the last good model.
People are literally saying that Kimi K3 has been distilled and trained on Fable, which was effectively released last month. Kimi K3 came out a couple of weeks ago. So they are saying a model that was in the works for ages, and typically training a new model is not a 1 week job. They're saying it was trained on a brand new model that they released for a few days, then took it back. Mythos, right?
Yeah.
And then it came out as Fable. So, yeah. And you don't need to prove anything, right? Just fear mongering is enough.
Isn't it weird that Mark Zuckerberg is on the right side of, or the unexpected side of this argument of we should have open weighted models?
Oh, even OpenAI everyone has signed on that letter.
Except Anthropic.
Yeah. Anthropic is doubling down. And Anthropic, so the internet is really amazing, right? So when Anthropic released a statement of why they don't support it, someone put out a statement with the full Anthropic website, letterhead, everything, announcement. Guns are dangerous, so only I should be allowed to have them. A post by Dario Amodei.
Okay. A whole bunch of questions I have, but just get through any other information you want to add.
Oh, there's a lot of information, so ask.
Go for it. Go for it.
K3 is doing very well on parameters. It is getting very, very popular. It is already in the top 5 most liked models of all time on HuggingFace. Most liked, but anyhow, I will not talk about HuggingFace, the name. How do you expect to be taken seriously with a name like that?
And why are you running polls about which model you like?
I think people just rate and whatnot. Right? It's like you need an IMDb for everything now.
Which IMDb's India channel has a very cringe series going on of a couple of hosts sitting and talking about their favorite movies, which is a nice, organic, fun conversation. But in between, they have to pull out their phones, and you get the phone screencasted onto your screen of, yeah, let's add this to our watch list on IMDb. That part of the conversation is so forced, it just pulls me out every single time. Like, no, I can't watch this. I like the hosts. Rohan Joshi is there quite often. I quite like his taste in movies, but this I cannot watch just for that, just for the forced product integration. So,
I think I would like to see pretentious movie reviews for every movie on IMDb.
fuck. Yeah, that would be fun. Auntie, this is just relation mein recommendation. You like, I watched this. Let's go on IMDb. Okay, yeah, here, there's another movie it's suggesting. Oh, yeah, what about this? What about this? No, not working. Oh, yeah, it's like, first of all, when you bring a device into an organic conversation, it already breaks the flow of the conversation. Sorry.
Nitesh is very tempted, by the way. He saw an e-reader and now he wants to buy an e-reader.
Sorry, go on. IMDb set me off. Hugging Face, and how we will not mention Hugging Face again.
I will not mention Hugging Face away. Again, Nvidia, Palantir is also signed on that they like open weight models because everyone wants to save money. And if there is an open weight model, they can install it on their own hardware and they don't need to pay Anthropic anything. OpenAI signing on was a bit funny. They have also, but well, theoretically, logically consistent because they have also trained on all of humanity. But yes. So now there's this huge back and forth between open source, open weight versus closed models and Chinese versus American models. But American companies have started using Chinese models because it saves them money, which calls into question everything about data centers in space.
Yeah, what happens to the build out?
To the data centers in space.
Eventually, yes, but what happens to the build out that is being commissioned now?
Still underway, but still underway very, very slowly.
The economics, that spreadsheet, which probably lives somewhere on somebody's laptop, had token pricing, which made the assumption that yes, token pricing, price per token will go down exponentially over the next few years, weeks, months, whatever. But it's still, those spreadsheets are built on the implicit assumption that the model running it will be proprietary, will be from OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or one of these guys, right? What happens when that is no longer the case? When y- you're talking about pure compute as a commodity, which is separate from which model it is running. That's the whole issue
Yes.
here, right? That the two things are getting split.
It's all getting commoditized, massively commoditized.
Yeah. So who's going to pay for the build out? I'm still giving the whole hubristic atmosphere here the benefit of the doubt that yes, we are going to actually need that much compute. We're constantly going to keep finding new use cases for uh, more and more, exponentially more compute, more tokens. I get it. But if it is all based on open weight models, then you don't need to pay to use them. You don't need to pay to use Kimi on your own machine. Yes, right? You can just download it. There is a paid Kimi plan, but it is when you're taking compute as a service, yes, entirely from them, which is not compulsory. You can just download it, and if your local machine, your very laptop is powerful enough, you can run it on that.
And even if you're paying them, if their model is that much more efficient,
Then it costs fractions of a penny.
or at least
compared
a small percentage of
Yeah.
whatever, right? So, which means you don't need as much compute. Also, a lot of the build out, we keep hearing that, compute is scarce,
Uh-huh.
right? All this build out is happening. Okay, let's say 100 or 180 odd gigawatts of compute is under process of being built out, of which about 5 to 10 has gone live in the last year or so.
Right.
Is there a population that wants to use AI compute and is not getting it? These guys are saying compute is scarce. We need so much more. 10 gigawatts of 180 has gone live.
Mm-hmm.
Are we starved of compute?
It'll come to pricing, right? If it is cheap enough, right? I'm sure that there is some edge case where I would have liked more compute to build my program faster. We kept getting locked out of
Hmm.
Claude, right? Remember, uh, which if that barrier no longer existed, if I have infinite tokens, then I would burn infinite tokens. Productively or not is a conversation nobody is having. So we're not going to have it.
Oh, let's not even go there. But
Yeah.
okay, so right now the compute is there. You just don't want to pay what they're charging for it.
Yeah.
But if you were willing to pay more, you have all the compute in the world, right?
Yes, but what if uh, my budget stays the same
Hmm.
and I can suddenly use 10x more tokens?
Again, the model collapses. The business model collapses
How?
because the we're spending the overall math is like a couple of trillion on data center build out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That money has to come back from somewhere. They say that, look, we will make all of this back because the demand for compute is insane. People will pay for this. Right now, between OpenAI and Anthropic, which are the only two companies meaningfully earning anything from it, everyone else is either earning tiny amounts or is upstream of these two and supplying compute to these two. Right. Between them, even if they take their wildest, whatever, maybe it's $80 billion of ARR. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It is not going to go to $1 trillion of ARR ever. If people can get compute but are not using it right now because they don't want to pay what these companies are charging, then these companies will never be able to charge more.
Yeah. So in most cases, it's not these companies who are doing the build outs.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's separate that. The data center was planned on the assumption that we're going to use these premium models of very frontier models of OpenAI and Anthropic, whatever the latest model is.
Yeah.
And they're going to charge their customers a lot because it is like cutting edge stuff. And therefore, they won't mind paying us so much
Yes.
for the data center usage. And if it is open weight, then for example, the data center that TCS is building here in India, which they haven't even broken ground on, or the one that is, but again, the Vishakhapatnam one is a captive Google data center. Let's say one of the involved parties. Take TCS as example only. They said they're going to build data centers. Let's fast forward 5 years. They've built one already, and they approach their clients who they're already doing consulting for and say, we will provide you compute, generic white labeled compute of the latest model, or you tell us which model
You tell us which model. Yeah.
whatever you want. But we are consultants. We are going to provide this as a service. We study these models every day. We are keeping up to date with what is the latest model that came out this week from DeepSeek, from all the open source guys, wherever they are in the world. And here's my data center, which is pure utility, low use karo.
Hmm.
I'm going to charge only for that. And if I was TCS, I would be glad to just break even on that because it is helping me in customer retention. And the customer demanded AI, so I have provided AI.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Where compared to if open source, open weight models don't exist, and I am still TCS, this shiny new data center I have runs the most cutting edge, the most expensive Anthropic and ChatGPT models. I could charge 10x that. I wouldn't even pitch it to my clients. I would just tell them, go find your clients. I will provide the compute.
Got it. And agreed. But overall, add a bunch of other people and the market, the ARR for AI is still $100 billion.
At the moment, yes.
Yes. People are trying to bring this down. The token maxing era is over.
Yeah, because it was free virtually
Yes.
then, and it's not anymore. Agreed.
So whether or not, even if these open weight models do not exist, even if it's just these two companies running a monopoly on compute, the market is still $100 billion and downwards. Let's say there is Chinese pressure on reducing this figure. There is token maxing or token minimizing pressure on reducing these figures. But everyone who wants to spend money on AI, seeing the utility, is collectively spending $80 billion or $100 billion on it. How will it go to $1 trillion, which is what they need to justify
A data center.
all the build
All
out
the
that is
data
going on?
centers. Okay, pause. I I shared on the WhatsApp group that we are in. I shared that again, this is Paytm, so take it with a grain of salt. But they are saying that they're running a model on their own hardware for their own internal needs. I'm guessing it's an open weight model, and this does not, the spend that they did on the hardware and the amount of benefit, let's say, that they're getting from the
Mm.
business benefit that they're getting from running these models does
Yep.
not show in that 80 billion
Fair.
figure that you're talking about. But
Mm.
it is an AI spend, right?
Fair.
Purely, that's
Mm.
what it is.
I am including the compute spend on these two in that $20 billion. You're saying it's
We
unknown.
don't know.
We don't know.
It can't be quantified, right? We don't know how many enterprises, how many startups have bought hardware.
That's fair. Open weight model spending will never be.
Exactly
How do you
quantified. You
exactly
can
measure?
estimate how many machines are running Linux
Hmm.
in the world, but you can't know for sure. With Windows, you know,
Yep.
because there are so many keys, and there's a company which is saying we have sold so many licenses. But with Linux, you can't say. No? Anybody could install it. They have ways of counting, but they're never 100% accurate.
Yeah.
So AI TAM is not just data centers, is what I'm trying to say.
It's not just Claude and Anthropic.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
But it's not even just data centers.
Oh, sorry, no, not Claude and OpenAI or Anthropic and OpenAI. Well, that compute is coming from data centers, right? Even if it is completely delinked from these two companies.
Uh-huh.
So it is still data centers in a way.
Why? They could be running a server farm in house.
Fair, then that is their own data center in a small way.
Yeah. But it's not going to show up in
It won't show up.
statistics.
Got it.
That's the point.
Agreed. Agreed.
Again, Paytm, not investing advice, not earnings call advice. Don't even bother. It's, yeah. My eyes roll so many times when I read the Paytm earnings call. But anyways,
Wow. Oh God. This is what happens when you use a black and white screen. Highlighting.
it looks like it's redacted.
Oh, wow. Is there a dark mode on this?
If Vineet has once again been hoisted on his own tech petard.
Oh man. I will need to bring my phone for this.
Hilarious.
Is there a dark mode in this? Somebody call the waiter. I am back. I had one gadget in my hand. Now I have two.
It's getting harder and harder to hold Vineet's attention.
Nothing personal, Nitesh. Yes. I also wanted to reference this amazing tweet, a very detailed tweet. So I can't even call it a tweet. It's a huge ass document by this guy who was the head of strategic futures at OpenAI. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Nobody does. But this guy is very deeply ingrained in the American tech ecosystem, ex-American government also, BMW ball. And he wrote his observations on Kimi K3.
Okay.
Fascinating. And I'm actually amazed. People don't say this stuff out loud typically. But a lot of what he said, some observations. A, it's a very good model. I don't think its performance can be explained away by distillation or anything like that. It's pretty much on par with the best public models of 2026 quarter one. He's saying they're a few months behind, but sure.
Right.
Two, I am personally surprised that the Chinese state continues to allow the open sourcing of models this good, given the potential risks. This is an interesting statement. To be clear, I myself might be fine with models presenting this level of marginal risk, being open weight, but I'm surprised that China is fine with it. What do you make of this? I would be okay with it, but I'm surprised China is okay with it.
Sounds like a dog whistle. Sounds like a dog whistle to me.
For the companies as opposed to the government, the decision to open source is partly ideological and partly because they are behind. And they know that very few people would pay for sub-frontier models from China. Ideological. How would you?
That's the dog whistle I was talking about. He's saying that he's surprised. I'm interpreting here my interpretation is mine. He's saying he's surprised that the Chinese government has allowed such a dangerous model out into the wild when it could be saying anything about anybody and linking them to any cartoon character. You know,
He goes on and on. Open weights, this is an interesting one. Open weight models are inherently decelerationist.
does he elaborate?
I'm continually surprised to see the so called accelerationists, air quotes are his, so excited about open weight models. They know open weight models are effectively ungovernable, and they simply like the overall cloak of ungovernability open weight models create over the whole of AI. This line, open weight models are inherently decent, this coming from an American AI top guy is insane to me. Effectively saying that for years they've been saying AGI, ASI, right? Super intelligence, everything, AI in everyone's hands. But when you actually give AI in everyone's hands by putting out an open weight model you can run on your own very powerful machine, decelerationist. You are setting things back. You're sending the whole AI space backward by releasing open models. Which is why I said that it's surprising that someone actually wrote this stuff out, because they're openly saying what they all feel. Ki AI only makes sense if AGI is God and we are the prophets. We control it and we decide who gets to approach God and say what to God, and we interpret God for you. You open it up and let anyone speak to this God? Nah, that's a bad idea. That's terrible. No, 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 no. We cannot progress that way.
Why is it deceleration? I don't even know how to pronounce that word.
That you would say. One probable, this is an interesting one. One probable outcome of an open weight model dominant world is full AI communism, which is precisely what China proposes. Rather than a market product, AI is a public good, air quotes his,
Right.
which will ultimately be provided by the state as a kind of digital public infrastructure. Next line. This future strikes me as a dystopian hellscape.
What?
This is why I'm amazed that somebody at OpenAI said this.
They've been saying for 3 years how amazing AI is and how it is absolutely our TAM is the whole world. Every single person on this planet needs AI in their lives, whether they know it or not. And now he's saying everybody should not get AI because it is communist.
And a dystopian hellscape. His words, not mine.
But that's what you've been describing
Yes.
for 3 years. So everybody should get AI, but they should pay for it and they should pay him for it.
Sam Altman has said, no, instead of universal basic income, there will be universal basic compute.
That's what this is.
But it should be provided by Sam Altman,
Right.
not
So
by
it
the
should
government.
be a universal good, but it should.
The government should pay him for it and then he provides it.
Right. Yeah.
The government should not directly skip the middleman.
Sure.
If you skip the middleman, that is a dystopian hellscape.
Yeah.
Full AI communism.
Yes.
Public good in air quotes.
This would be like, I don't even know what analogy to think of. If Amazon says that the Kindle I bought from them, if I jailbreak it and run another perfectly good operating system on it and download books from another app or a bookstore, a digital bookstore, then it is a threat to humanity.
Well, I would say that analogy is not perfect because Jeff Bezos is selling you hardware at a discount.
Okay, what if I bought a generic ebook
Hmm.
reader? They're saying generic ebook reader, maybe you should run the Kindle ecosystem only. And any other ecosystem that works perfectly well, that won't cost me anything, that is just as good to use, is a threat to humanity. And what was it? What hellscape?
Dystopian hellscape.
Dystopian hellscape. Okay.
Google Street View is great. Google Street, like maps are great, but Open Maps is terrible. Google Art Project is great, but like just using random examples, right? But free access to museums would be terrible. Similar approach. Everything is great. Information access is great.
As long
as you pay
it
me for it.
flows through then.
Hmm.
The priest example, the priest analogy is wonderful.
This is also amazing. Next point. I would guess that the Trump administration will at some point realize that their best strategy here would be to create large amounts of regulatory risk around the use of open weight Chinese models.
Right.
You don't even need to ban open source in air quotes. You just need to direct every agency to issue soft law that creates FUD. FUD is fear, uncertainty, doubt. A very old tech term. That just spread whatever fear you want.
It predates tech, no? Or at least modern tech.
A Federal Reserve advisory. So now he's giving an example of the kind of FUD that the government could create.
Right.
A Federal Reserve advisory bulletin found that there may be backdoors in Chinese AI models. It needn't be that well justified. You just create enough regulatory risk that every regulated enterprise backs off.
Why is he saying this out loud?
Exactly. He's saying, why don't the government should just bullshit that Chinese models come with risks?
Do fear mongering is what he's saying.
And baseless fear mongering. He's saying it needn't be that well justified, which effectively means you can just bullshit. It needn't be well founded at all.
Just sow the seeds of some dangerous.
And this is an interesting one that ties into mythos also, which was supposed to be the biggest danger to the world, and now fable exists and nothing has happened, right? He says it's probably true that open weight models of this capability make the world a bit more dangerous, but not so much more that you'll really notice.
तो फिर problem क्या है?
Huh? At some point, the models will be capable enough that you will notice. What does that mean? Who is this guy? This guy, he most recently served as senior policy advisor for artificial intelligence and emerging technology at the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, and as strategic advisor for AI at the National Science Foundation. Primary staff drafter of America's AI Action Plan. This is the guy who is so openly, so brazenly talking कि यार कुछ करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, बस just keep bullshitting. I'm amazed that he's saying all this. See, again, we know that
They think this. Yeah.
But the fact that he's saying it so openly says a lot.
Surprising. It's the same. Actually, AI has done a speedrun in this also. So for 25 years, the US was preaching globalization when it was them who were doing the globalizing.
Yes.
And when the balance tipped, they suddenly became protectionist.
Now, EU's also created a de minimis that below, don't know the exact amount, but below a certain value, few hundred euros, there's a crazy huge tariff on imports, Chinese imports.
Right, which is to strike out the Shein and the...
But we all know what that means, right? We've seen it in India.
Yeah.
That you can't, I cannot order from AliExpress, but I can buy from someone on Amazon who is buying massive amounts of that stuff from AliExpress and selling it to me at 5x.
Yeah. You're just creating opportunities for more middlemen. Yeah, makes sense. On the subject of US protectionism, briefly, Mercedes-Benz AG shares in Germany fell quite a bit because the US was considering banning all cars, auto manufacturers which have majority Chinese ownership.
Wait, Mercedes-Benz is what?
Mercedes-Benz's two largest shareholders are Chinese.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, Mercedes-Benz has had foreign ownership for the longest time. The G-Wagon exists because the Shah of Iran held a huge stake, sat on the board and said, why don't you make a car for my army? So I wrote a piece on the history of the G-Wagon, and researching those newspaper articles back then, there was fear-mongering even then. Our crown jewel, Mercedes-Benz, is now in Iranian hands. How can we let this pass? In German media in the 1960s.
The more things change.
So yeah, it's funny. Is this just protectionism? Is this the frontier model, the US frontier model guys just trying to protect their turf?
Yeah.
Just that.
Absolutely. Did you see Elon Musk's interview
No,
with The Economist?
there aren't enough hours in the day, man.
I've seen clips. Yeah, I agree. But I've seen enough full clips, get the full context of those answers at least.
Uh,
Money won't matter in 6 years. There will be so much abundance.
should we throw this on the pile with the we'll have a Tesla Roadster in so many years and we'll have full autonomous driving in so many years? And
I mean, if money won't matter, then just give away your $1 trillion.
Yeah. why do you need that?
Why do you need it? Money won't matter.
Of all the people I know, he's the only one who can, with any conviction, make the argument of I have kids to feed.
Yeah, he should have a running meter of how many kids he has. Partly based on news and partly based on lawsuits. Yeah, he does have.
What else did he say in the interview? Because I'm not going to watch it.
It's a softball interview of the highest order.
Mhm.
The woman barely pushes back on anything he says about the future. But a couple of these things is the slightest amount of questioning at all about his theories about how immigrants are destroying the world, all that. He his way through those answers, and then goes back on Twitter and says she's a traitor to humanity and to Western civilization.
For pushing back that teeny little bit. Yeah. I did try to watch the Nikhil Kamath interview with Musk. 10 minutes I lasted,
Yeah.
which was even more softball than this.
You know, there were watch parties, right, in Bangalore.
Yeah. I know. But that was signaling. I understand that.
That's sort of LinkedIn mixing it with Twitter in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
The Elon fanboyism of Twitter mixing in with LinkedIn virtue signaling of, look, we are so in with the latest tech. Ugh. You should go to one of these parties. Write an article.
No.
Not
Go
priced in.
undercover.
Not priced in.
Go undercover. No, thank you. No. There's no substance here. The point is that you attend one of these parties and you take that picture and you post it that, we were here and we did this. That's it. It's performative. You're not going to have profound conversations there.
You're not going to have
That's
any
not the
conversations
point.
there.
That's not the point of the place. The point is that you get that picture that you can post on Instagram, on LinkedIn, or wherever else. And yeah, I am so with it that I was there even at the watch party. That's all it was.
So I'm going to do a bit of a sum up of all the crazy things that are going on. And then we can get into I would like you to get into the credit default swap part.
Sure.
Of Nvidia and what's been going on in Kospi. But last couple of weeks, a Chinese open weight model, supposed to be fantastically good, getting rave reviews, even after the weights have come out a few days ago. So earlier they said we will release the weights, which was enough of news. Now they have, and people are amazed. B, the infrastructure providers whose shares were going up and up and up are now falling.
Yeah.
There's now apparently a Chinese competitor to ASML.
Yeah. They're one generation behind, but
One generation behind is still because
phenomenal. Because for 20 years, the stock market has been saying there is no replacement for ASML. There just isn't. There's just one company in the world that can make these machines, and there's only one company in the world which can run these machines at scale, which is TSMC. So that's what has been the narrative for at least 10 years now. So this is stunning.
And if these people were concerned, had any thought about spreading technology to the world, this would be a huge positive, right? Competition is good, more access is good, a huge bottleneck and choke point, processors and GPUs, is removed. It's not a bottleneck anymore, let's say, right? And if they catch up. But oh no, the stock market falls, crashes. So therefore, yeah, everyone is just concerned about maintaining their chokehold and monopoly. For all the talk about technology is great and should be freely available. I know I am just openly saying what everyone already knows. But yeah, a very obvious and glaring example that everyone just wants a monopoly.
Deep down in their hearts, nobody is nobody who is commercially involved in the field, which is the privilege we have, right? Which is why we get to have these opinions. Can be a free market absolutist because by its very nature, that free market will come to devour them one day.
You need a moat.
Yeah.
You need a moat. Moat is what will keep the competition far behind you.
Yeah. And if it is regulatory, then you use that. If it is FUD, then you use that. Whatever it takes. That is the inherent nature of capitalism. Whatever virtue signaling you want to do on top of it, whatever, how much ever you want to polish that dirt, that's how it is underneath. And I'm morally okay with it. Don't be hypocrites. Admit it.
Admit it, exactly.
That's all. वो नहीं करेंगे.
ज्ञान मत दो.
Yeah.
What's been going on with Cosby and Nvidia?
First on Nvidia and what a CDS is. I'm hoping that our audience has read or at least watched The Big Short, which is amazing, which explains credit default swaps quite well. But this it's insurance on debt. Anybody who has put out bonds, any company, there's a non-zero chance that they might default. They might not be able to make the payments on the bond, whether it's the coupon payments, the interest payments, or the principal, the actual amount borrowed, which you have to return at the end of the tenure of the bond, right? So you can, if you're not sure, you're holding this bond and you're happy with the 6 monthly or annual payments that you're getting from, let's say, Nvidia. You've bought Nvidia bonds and everything is going great. Even if Nvidia's market cap goes from 5 trillion to 50 trillion, your bond is still just going to pay out the same coupons every 6 months or every year until it matures in 5 years, let's say, in this example. Uh, but the other side is if Nvidia gets into trouble, then you'll stop receiving these payments. That's called a default. And there are a lot of covenants in the bond of what you can do in case of a default. You'll have first right to the land that Nvidia owns or their cash or whatever, but you don't want that. You don't want to get into a legal mire. You just have these bonds and you want to sleep peacefully at night. You can buy insurance on that, which is a CDS, which is a credit default swap. These aren't available to most people. They're mostly it's institutions on either side who are doing this. Of course, trading happens on this now, but it's mostly again investment banks. Retail traders don't operate here that I know of. You can buy credit default swap, and you hold on to that. It's your insurance policy. If Nvidia defaults, I come to you. You're the issuing bank, and I say, look, Nvidia missed its payment. You pay me. Either ways, I'm made whole. Maybe more than whole, also depending on the terms of the CDS. So these CDSs trade every day, and you can see them on your Bloomberg terminal. You can see the price. Since June, we are in the middle of July. In like 6-8 weeks, the price of insurance on Nvidia, which has mad cash flows, mad. No one would even think of Nvidia defaulting on their debt. Right? The stock price might drop. That's fine. It does not matter. It does not affect the bonds. The bonds are affected only when their actual cash flow is affected. The price of CDSs on Nvidia bonds has doubled in the last 6 to 8 weeks. The market, sophisticated institutions are at least twice as worried now as they were 6 weeks ago about Nvidia not being able to pay its debts. The absolute number is still pretty low because the chances are still slim to none, but the odds have doubled from 6 to 8 weeks ago, which is crazy. Oracle, the CDS screenshot that you shared with me for Oracle, that makes complete sense. There is a solid non-zero chance that Oracle might default. First of all, because they've bet the company on this. And so if the AI build out, even if AI succeeds and the AI build out was just slightly mistimed, Oracle is fucked.
Sorry, I should not laugh at someone's misery.
You know they're on the hook if the Warner merger doesn't go through.
Yes?
So you can laugh. It's okay.
The Warner merger, which has been blocked by a judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Netflix already got paid for leaving the table, and they might have to pay Warner as well. And this is Ellison personally on the hook for about $10 billion. I'm rounding up. Yeah. So Oracle CDSs, uh, whatever the price is right now, I still think they're underpriced because there's a solid chance that they will have to pay out the CDSs. Uh, yeah. So the market is genuinely worried. The momentum of the AI build out trade is faltering. We discussed how it started with the software, then it moved to the hardware, then it moved to the picks and shovels, first layer, then it moved to the second layer, then it moved to energy and utilities, all of that, right? Because this is like a once in a generation build out, and so it's going to have uh, sudden winners and losers all over the ecosystem. Now, if the build out is faltering, then all those companies which have had wild runs, if you look at their stock prices, all of them are going to suddenly question, okay, this PE multiple of 2000 that we are pricing in at the current price, because we are also pricing in like 300x growth in the next 3 years. So the PEG ratio still makes sense if you have to justify it. But if the growth isn't there, if they're not going to sell even as many chips next year as they did this year, then what are we paying such a high multiple for? That comes into question, right? And because the build up in the stock prices was so fast, the drop is going to be equally precipitous, uh, hastened and worsened by the fact that there's a lot of leverage in the system. The Cosby example that you gave is like the most extreme, the most refined, the most purest form of heroin in of leverage that there is, I think, anywhere in the world right now. Because this is uh, what is that crazy stat? 3% of South Korea's adults, 3% have had a margin call, and that was from 15 days ago. That was before the crash happened.
Wait, oh, that was before the crash.
That was from July 13th or 14th. The Goldman.
Oh God. Oh, I thought it was recent.
No.
Oh, that is mad. That is
So
mad.
already there's so much
That's
speculation.
before the actual crash.
Yeah. 3% of adults in South Korea, not investors, adults in South Korea have had a margin call, which either means that almost every single person who's on the market has had a margin call, or almost everybody who's an adult is in the market.
Hmm.
One of the two, probably a mix of the two. That is wild.
Oh God, that figure's going to be much worse now.
Yeah. And it'll take about 15, 20 days for that to come out. Because the Goldman study was cited July 13th, but they would have done the research much earlier, right?
Yes.
So it takes some time for these figures to come out. The anecdotal reporting that has happened on this is that it is an absolute bloodbath. Retail is getting wiped out. They were, I don't know for what joy, the government and the exchanges approved 2x levered, 3x levered single stock ETFs, which means that uh, you are holding SK Hynix stock, right? You're holding 100 rupees worth of 100 won worth of stock. The stock went up 10%, which happened all the time with SK Hynix for the last 6 months. And at the end of the day, your holding is worth 110. Right?
Yep.
I'm holding the 2x levered ETF. Same 100 rupees. It went up. The underlying SK Hynix went up 10. My holding at the end of the day was 120. Sounds great on the way up, but it also works on the way down. So if
Yep.
your stock holding went from 10 to 90, you'd still be okay. Mine would go from 10 to 80.
100 to 80.
Yeah, from 100 to 80. And these guys are buying the ETF on margin.
Yes.
So there is leverage there. They're using leveraged money to buy a leveraged product. So that's leverage stacked on top of leverage. It's the Jenga tower that they show in The Big Short. No? And
Guys, do not do this at home. If you want to do this, you had better be Sam Altman or Elon Musk.
it's mad. Like, what regulator, what use case is there for this? Matt Levine wrote about this maybe a year ago. where he actually did the math of how statistically, if you hold a 2x levered single stock ETF long enough, you will be wiped out. It will go to zero. Just in regular market gyrations, you will go to zero sooner or later. He did the math.
Number always go up. Number never go down.
And uh, it that's why it's called a mania, right? This is like so reminiscent of Japan in the late 80s, when that was an everything bubble. It started as a real estate bubble, it became an everything bubble. There was so much debt, so much speculation happening. Japanese real estate deals would make like Gurgaon in the 2000s look stable. That's how much. Like there was 1000x appreciation in months. There was that much speculation happening on
Wow.
land parcels in Japan. Like actual real estate deals
How's
were
that
happening
going?
like that. It took 30 years for the market to go back to the level where it was then. 30 years. Japan has had three lost generations, three
Yeah.
lost decades of people uh, who don't know what inflation is, who were born, lived, and died in this weird bubble where everything is kept artificially frozen in space and time by the Japanese government. They had negative interest rates. You were penalized for keeping money in the bank.
I'm already seeing comparisons South Korea to Japan.
It's horrifying. It will take a long, long time. I really hope that it's not as broad and systemic as that, and that it's just a market bubble. I
The
can't believe I'm saying.
problem is you combine that with these chaebols.
Yeah.
The amount of the investor money and the economy resting in a few
Concentrate.
companies,
Yeah.
concentrated in a few companies, and those companies that are receiving it. The funny part is within a month, Samsung's or 2 months, Samsung stock goes here. They announced that this is the most profitable year ever in their history. Samsung stock goes here.
Yeah.
That sounds backward to me, but such is life.
No, because the market and the stock prices and the options prices expected even more.
That's the yeah.
That's a mania, right? And the thing that pops it can come from anywhere. It need not even be a thing. It might just be a gust of wind.
Yeah.
And suddenly I was like, wait, am I taking on too much risk? And then this happens. Really, really interesting thing. I think we can wrap on that.
Hmm.
Not my original insight, but I fucking love it so much. Odd Lots, the Bloomberg podcast, had a guest on about 6 months ago, and he pointed out that he noticed a pattern when he was either during the internet bubble and when it popped, the 2000s, or maybe he backtested it and found this. He said, in any bubble, you'll have the leaders, right? Those are the ones where the stock price just goes mad and it grows and grows and grows, and then somehow it hits a ceiling and it drops a little, and people tend to sell. But because they've made so much money in the market and because they have recency bias, they don't take their money out of the market. So what they do is they rotate out of these, what they now see as really speculative bets, and they move their money into more staid, boring, neglected parts of the market.
Hmm.
Your FMCG, your distribution, the truck manufacturers, things like that. In the last month, the S&P 500 has been flat to up, and the Nasdaq has dropped quite a bit. The equal weighted S&P 500 has actually beaten the regular S&P 500 after a long, long, long time, because the price movement was so concentrated in the top 10, in the Mag 7, and maybe another 15 companies behind them,
Hmm.
that those companies were they were dragging the market up with them. But individually, the rest of the market was actually underperforming, right? Statistically, makes sense. Now it is flipped. Those guys, the leaders of the boom, are dipping, and everybody else, the laggards, because people are presuming that these are safe and uncorrelated bets, but you're all in the same fucking
Yeah.
market,
Yeah.
right? So this is could be the first stage of decline, Not investing advice. Please do not take all your money out of the market at any point. Stay invested long enough. Equities are still going to outperform.
Also, not investing advice. No, 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 no. That also sounds like investing advice.
No, I'm not saying put
Go
all your
play
money out.
Coco.
The world is ending.
Go play
All right?
Coco. Go drink coffee.
Yeah. Just work on a long enough time horizon, or stay up all day reading exchange filings and then be called, what was that? Dracula.
Vampire bro.
Vampire bro. Sorry. These are the two options. We don't have a
I don't read stock filings.
Yeah, I do. That's all I do all day. So that's interesting. That one half of the hypothesis has played out or is playing out, in that people are moving their money into safer bets, but still keeping it in the market, which uh, I don't know, might be foolish in hindsight or might be smart. I don't know, but interesting that it's going exactly as he laid out about 6, 8 months ago. Very cool. Very cool. You can link to the episode. I will send the link. Yeah.
Very cool indeed. Yeah. OnePlus is dying.
Oh, it's really unfortunate.
So I was trying to track, is it because of the AI thing? But no, it's a bunch of factors. Leading up, the AI thing, RAM getting expensive is just the final Jenga piece being pulled out.
Yeah.
And pulling it out.
OnePlus hasn't been OnePlus since Kalpe left, since their independence was taken. This was an umbrella of brands that were all, at least the other four, the Oppos and Vivos, all their models looked interchangeable, but OnePlus always had unique stuff. And when that great consolidation happened, I think the clock started ticking then.
Yeah, there's no personality.
Yeah.
OnePlus was flagship at a mid price.
Yeah.
Their flagships started becoming 75, 80K in India. What do they stand for?
Not just that, it was sufficiently differentiated from other Android phones.
Yes. Now not anymore.
Not anymore.
Now the Vivos, the Xiaomis are getting the flagship set. Like I have a Xiaomi phone, which is effectively a camera with a phone attached.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It stands out for a certain thing. Vivo has certain specific features. OnePlus, what does it stand for? Nothing. And now you combine that with the RAM crisis. Their input costs go up even more. Their biggest competition at the high end of the market is Samsung. Samsung is widely making so much money by selling to AI, whatever, that they can afford to lower their margins slightly. So how do you even compete? What do you compete on?
I have very fond memories of my OnePlus. I used OnePlus 5, 5T and 6, if I remember. If I had that...
You were upgrading every year? Or every...
No.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that. I don't know. I don't remember. Oh, I think it was the 3T, the 5, and then I got the 6 for my wife, if I remember correctly. I don't know. But I'm familiar with those 3 models.
On that note, on that very happy note, let us wrap up. Hopefully this episode will not have technical glitches. Thank you, Riverside. I hate you for a lot of stuff. See you guys. Bye-bye.